So guys, I'm back with the 4th episode of my Solidworks Train Modelling Tutorial after a brief gap. Here's a short recap of what we have completed in our model in the last episode. And now in this episode, we would finish off the EMD body finally so that we can move ahead towards the cabin modeling from the next video. Thank you everyone for all the support and feedback that you guys have given me up till those 3 episodes, and I would hope that it would continue till the end of the series. So guys, we start here by continuing our remaining model. Like as I have used earlier, I am using extrude bows with given dimensions. And now I have applied an extrude cut over it. These two cylinders are obviously made by extruding two circular sketches. For the purpose of saving time, I am speeding up the video by twice the speed. Now you can see that I had mirrored the recently made 3 feature on the other side of the appropriate center plane. Adding a few more details before moving ahead. Now this pipe can be made by using swept bows, as I have demonstrated you in the previous videos. That requires a 2D sketch profile and a path. The path can either be a 2D sketch or can be a 3D sketch. So here I have taken a 3D sketch spline as path. Because we would need to bend it in all the 3 directions. The beginning point of the spline was kept on that surface of the cylinder, and the end point was kept hanging in the air by assuming a position. And once you finish making the path, you have to use the swept bows command. Similarly, I have used swept bows for the other pipe also. If you want to learn that in details, you can refer my previous 3 videos. Here again performing a simple extrude. And yes, followed by a swept bows. You can see here that how I have made the path of the spine. The profile will be circular 2D sketch and the path is a 3D curve. And then I had mirrored that on the other side of the center plane, making another extrudes again. Yeah, you might see that the order that I have followed to make the feature is random, but you can refer the order as per your comfort. You can make any feature first and then the other. It depends on what you choose to make first. Again, I have used a sweep bows here. You can clearly see that. Now I want the similar feature on the below cube also, so I will be using linear pattern. Where you have to specify the pattern axis and the feature to pattern. And then you have to specify how many times you want it. In short, the counters. Here we want just 2. Again using the similar feature of the swept bows to make pipes here. Now I have to make a handle. So here again I will make use of a swept bows. Again a 2D sketch circle as a profile and a 3D sketch as a path. You can see the sketch in all the 3 dimensions. I am switching the layouts. And yes, obviously we would need it on the other side, so we would use the basic mirror. Now I will be adding a few hinge kind of features just like the above ones. Just look at it how I am making it. But if you want to learn it in details, you can refer my old videos. I am again reminding it to you. In those videos I have explained all the small feature in details. But now I can't waste more time in explaining all the same features again and again. Because now after finishing this body, we have to move towards the cabin part. And then after finishing some small parts, we have to do the assembly. If you remember, here we can use Extrude Cut by giving up to surface as constraint and specifying the surface up to which it should cut. And yes, again the mirror. Be sure that whenever you mirror, you select all the entities that you want to mirror on the other side. Here it is just a simple extrude boss on the sketch drawn on the inside surface. Here I have used a thin feature extrude cut. We know that it requires just a single line and then it requires the thickness of the cut, thickness or you can say the width. Again doing the same thing. For now just avoid those rectangles. Now we will see about those rectangles. These are just extrude bosses of very low thicknesses made by some rectangular sketches. I have given them a thickness of just 5 mm. Similar one. And once more a similar one. And now I have cutted these small lines. And again I have used cut extrude thin feature, which would require only 3 lines and it would cut by your given thickness. And again we will apply the same on the other rectangles as well. A sketch over that back surface and extrude of very low thickness. Again an extrude boss. You have to observe the photos of the real locomotive so that you can get the idea where and what to make on your model. Here you shall again use linear pattern, which saves a lot of time, and then you have to again just mirror, which will save a lot of time again. For mirroring, you have to choose the appropriate center plane. Just turning on the perspective view, which shows a real-like model. Once again, I am reminding that this video is a speeded up version. If you are not getting it what I am doing here, that means you have not watched my old videos. In those videos, I have explained all these features in keen details. So just don't skip those videos. Watch those videos for the basic tutorials. Here we are using only basic feature like extrude cut, extrude boss, swept cut, swept boss in this model, since the advanced feature will be used in the next models, which would be the electric locomotive and the EMU local. I have used a linear sketch pattern and extrude cut here. Linear sketch pattern and linear pattern are two different things. Linear sketch pattern patterns your sketch entities, and linear pattern helps you in patterning the entities that you have made. Also, linear sketch pattern is useful only when you are in a sketch mode. Just make sure that whatever you make here does not look ugly. It should look like the real locomotive parts. It can't be real like 1:1, but you can at least visually equalize those parts. Again, using the same thing what we did in previous time. On this surface I have made this sketch, which visibly shows a clamp kind of feature. So now to cut the hole inside it, you can use either of the surface of the newly made feature, draw a circle and just apply extrude cut. Here I have used Convert Entities feature, which converts the boundaries of selected surface into sketch entities. Another time-saving catch. Make sure on what surface you make the sketch so that it extrudes properly in your desired direction. You can use two directional extrude as well, like I have used here. In spite of using those same old features, I am showing this video since you should know what you have to make or what I have made in this locomotive. Yeah, finally it depends on yourself that what kind of detailing you add. I have added each and every small detail here. Finally it's your choice whether you want to add that detailing or not. Again, I remind that I get this detail by seeing the locomotives as well as some photos of locomotive. Photos are available all over the internet and you can observe the locomotive whenever you travel in the train. Refer the photos taken from various angles so that you can visualize what your part should look like. You can notice here that what sketch surface I have selected to draw here, the uppermost one. Again, here I will be using linear pattern. Just pay attention and see how it would work. You have to mention the pattern direction and the feature. And then the counters, that how many times you want to pattern the given feature. Here you can see that we can't exceed more than this number. So for this another plane, we will be repeating the same procedure again. And for that other plane, we can use mirror of our first pattern, since that plane is symmetric to this one over the center plane. So this is what we have done till now. Let's go ahead. In the next video, I will be explaining you the difference between a WD G4 class locomotive and a WD P4 class locomotive. After that, we shall move on to the cabin part in the same video. Here are some details of the underbody. Now I have cut a hole over here which would be used to fit the other parts during the assembly. While designing it, you can't decide where the hole lies because at that time you don't know at what exact position the part would fit. When the other part in the assembly coincides with the main body, you have to cut the part out. But for now, since this model is already prepared model, you can just follow my step and move ahead. The feature like this can also be kept separate from the main body, at least for some time, after which you need to make the joining part. But yeah, make sure that you make a joining part like this one, because if you don't make it, you will face problem during mirroring. For giving fillets, you can either select the edges on what you want the fillets, or else you can select adjacent surfaces of it. Again, like I have explained you earlier, that was a hole for other parts that would fit in the assembly. Now notice here that the origin point and the corresponding plane does not lie at the exact center of the length of our body. So we have to make a new plane. For that, draw a line in the side view which touches both the ends of the body then draw another line which originates from its midpoint and trim off other parts such that only the half line remains. Then go to reference geometry, plane, and give the parameters of the plane. The first parameter would be a plane perpendicular to the side view, and the other should be the endpoint of our half line. Now we can see that the newly made plane lies at the exact center of our model. With the help of this newly made plane, we can mirror these features on the other side. Like this swipe and other features what I have mirrored here. Without this plane, it won't get mirrored on the exact place where we want it. Now notice here that here we can't mirror these features because it would give us wrong order. We want the side by side tubes on the right hand side and above below tubes on the left hand side. But if you mirror, it would give us wrong order. So simply to make the same feature, just follow the same procedure what we have followed earlier. It is not compulsory that both the tubes should look equal. After all, they are tubes. Adding a few more final details here. You can notice that the sketch entities of this sketch are not exactly vertical or exactly horizontal. These are inclined at a particular angle with the vertical axis. And now I have removed off the surface by giving a circular profile. And yes, obviously we need to mirror that cut on the other side of the center plane. And since we would require the recently made features on the front side, we would mirror it with the newly made plane. So here we finish up with the base body of our locomotive model. Now you can notice the underbody parts, which are the fuel tank and the battery box. For a WD G4 class locomotive, the fuel tank remains on the long hood side of the battery box. And for a WD P4 class locomotive, the fuel tank goes on the short hood side of the battery box. You can easily see the difference over here. So in the next episode, we would quickly make this small feature of either of the locomotive model, and then we will proceed to the cabin part in the same video. Adding these features won't take much of our time. A few swept bows, swept cuts, extrude bows, extrude cuts, that's all it will require. So thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned, the next video would come up soon.